Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Back at Road Atlanta. Should be a beautiful day. It's nice and cool. It's like 47 degrees out right now. So had a hard time putting some heat into the tires. But so the plan is we're gonna run the old used up Nankang CRSs in the morning, you know, getting warmed up and stuff like that. And then later on in the day we're gonna throw the SuperCar 3Rs and see what we're gonna do. As usual, you know, you guys know I'm not a send it kind of driver, so I'm not gonna send it, you know what I mean? This is a sketchy track, lots of walls, not a lot of runoff. Got kids, I wanna get home, I wanna get the car back home in one piece. So we'll see what happens, but you know, always is, you know, the goal is always to try to improve. So hopefully we can get down, you know, sometime with the new upgrades, the wing, the tires, etc. So one thing that I did find out, the thermostat was bad. So I had a K-Tech 175, 176, whatever it was. And it failed. Check this out. So I don't think this is working. Kind of hard to see, but I'm way past the temperature and the bulb is not completely open. Okay, let's see if this will. It's like hung up on this side. Alright guys, so first of all, I have to apologize for the audio. It was a hectic weekend with a lot of distractions, and on this particular session, somehow my GoPro and DJI mic combo did not record audio. So what you're hearing is the car's PDR audio, which, you know, it's not the best. So this was my favorite session of the whole weekend. Me and all the boys were all out on track at the same time, and as you'll see in the next 6 laps, we were flying. Enjoy! right, guys, back at home base. So yeah, man, 132.7. So my previous PB at Road Atlanta was a 135.9, I believe. Okay, that was back in the when I was still running the AR1s. So yeah, definitely a really nice improvement with the new tires and the aero and stuff like that. So yeah, man, very, very happy about that. So yeah, so it turns out that I've been tracking this thing with a busted thermostat for who knows how long. What really set me off to look at it was because, the last time I was at Sebring, man, the car was getting very hot, like 240 within 2 laps, really 1.5 laps. So I was like, no, there's got to be something going on here. And for how little that thermostat thing was opening, honestly, I'm surprised that this thing didn't have bigger issues. So yeah, I've always heard that the stock one is the best, even though it starts to open at like 198. But stock one went back in. This one was a K-Tech, so it wasn't like I cheaped out. I didn't go LS3 or something like that. I bought what I thought was the best aftermarket thermostat, and it failed. So my recommendation for anybody running one of these cars is just stick to the stock thermostat. So it was a pretty cool weekend. Like I mentioned in the intro, it was in the 40s in the morning. And it did get to like the high 70s, low 80s. I think on the second day it was like 81, the highest. And obviously not as humid as Florida. So definitely not like a true test as to, for the cooling system. But, guys, the car ran spectacular. I mean, no issues as far as cooling system went. Like I mentioned on the video, I think max ISO was 223 on track, which for this car is amazing. Okay, but really on average, it was kind of staying around 219. When I was pushing hard, or I was right behind a car. It would get up to like, the low 220s. But then as soon as I had clear air, back straight and things like that, right back down to 219. Oil temps in the 270s, which again for this car was amazing. So now I did mention that it was a hectic weekend, so it wasn't without issues. Okay, so first off, I think I ended up getting bad gas, guys. So I went to, there's a Chevron just south, okay, of the track, and everybody tells you not to use that gas station, okay? But there's another Chevron north of the track, off of the main road, and I've gone to that gas station, every time that I've gone to Road Atlanta. That's where I gotten my gas. Because, I wasn't going to haul gas all the way from Florida and, whatever. So the first sessions that I ran, the car was full on the gas that I had, from Florida. And then after that, I started running on the gas that I got at that gas station. And then all of a sudden, the car started throwing knock sensor codes. So they really freaked me out because I was like, holy shit, I'm all the way out here and this thing is going to start giving me issues. I lifted the car. I started looking down here around the O2 sensor. I think I was thinking, well, maybe from the downpipes, maybe connector's loose or I did something wrong. And I'm looking and I can't find anything, guys. The knock sensors on these things is they're kind of buried a little bit. There's a heat shield on them. And if you know about these cars and you looked underneath, you know what I'm talking about. But it's not easy to get to them. Okay, let's just say that. The connector wasn't really exposed. There wasn't anything that I saw obviously wrong. Okay, there was nothing melted, nothing wrong. So I'm like, what the heck? So I clear the codes, and I go right back out and nothing. Like it throws me back into live mode. So I ended up coming back into the pits, disconnecting the battery, and I think that's really what started causing some of these video issues that I had because it like just discombobulated everything. Disconnected the battery, went back out, and then the car ran seemingly fine for like half a lap and then again into limp mode. So then somebody was like, hey man, throw some octane booster in there. So, Josh runs on E85. So I was like, you know what? Let me throw a gallon of E85 in there. The car had maybe a half a tank at that point. I threw a gallon of E85, went back out, ran great, no problem. So I'm like, what the heck? So long story short, the thought is that gas that I got at that gas station was bad, okay? And I ended up going to a completely different gas station, way out of the way, a Shell gas station, and got, fresh 93. And then after that, the car ran fine. So go figure. The only thing that I can think of is because the hurricane, what was it, Milton? No, it wasn't Milton. The one right before Milton. You know, kind of went up there. Maybe somebody, you know, I don't know. I got bad gas. Is the only thing I can think of. Is the only thing that I hope that was the issue, and the only thing that makes sense because after I got, you know, different gas, and I, you know, like I said, I threw some 85 in there. It was just a gallon, guys. So the car ran fine, you know. So, and now it's running fine. I had it on the street, you know. I've done some pulls and stuff like that, and it's fine. So, you know, fingers crossed that that's the issue. There's nothing melted. So, hey, I guess I got bad gas somehow. And then the other thing that happened a couple of times after those long sessions, because the car was running so good that I would just stay out the whole freaking time until the gas was just empty. Which is amazing about these cars, you know, because there's so many cars out there that you can't go like below half a tank or quarter tank because you start getting fuel starvation, fuel surge, as people call it. And this thing, I'm in the low fuel warning with the line on E, and I'm still pounding, and it doesn't really give a shit. But anyways, my rear diff fluid started coming out. So I did end up having to clean that up a couple of times. I'm assuming that, again, because I stayed out for so long, not typically what I do, that, you know, the fluid in the differential was probably getting pretty toasty, and, you know, started puking out of the breather. That's the only thing that I can see. I didn't find any leaks after that. I cleaned it up really good. No leaks, so I'm assuming that is that. So I think I'm going to upgrade the fluid. I'm probably going to go with a red line. I'm thinking about doing the 75-140 and throwing a little bit of the friction modifier and see how that does. But I also did order the oil. So these cars have through these ducts down here, okay, and it vents through these things. You won't see it there, but it's there. There's actually a heat exchanger, okay, a radiator. On this side is the transmission, and on the other side, a much smaller one for the diff, for the rear diff, okay. So I've seen some guys that buy another transmission cooler, which again is much bigger, and put it over there. So I did order that, and I'm eventually going to do that. Hopefully that takes care of that issue. And then the other thing that happened that was completely freaking crazy, you know, Josh went up there. My other boy, Danny, with the white Z06 also went up there. But Josh's wastegate actuator on his turbo broke. Like the arm that goes from the actuator to the little flapper on the turbo literally broke. All right, look at the jerry rig shit that we ended up having to do. So his actuator arm actually broke right there. So then he took it to another place to get it welded, and back on track. And not only the arm broke, okay, but also the little locking key that keeps the arm from getting off, that also broke. So I was like, we let the car cool down, we put a fan on it. I took the wastegate thing out, and I was like, Josh, go find somebody in the paddock that has a welder and just have somebody just weld it, okay? I don't give a shit, like the exact position that it is, we'll readjust it. Just find somebody that can weld this thing back together, okay? Obviously, it's a Saturday afternoon. We're in Road Atlanta. You know, you're not going to find this specific wastegate actuator anywhere near there, right? So he went around the paddock. There was nobody in the paddock that had a welder, but there was like a little shop, like literally next door to the track, okay? And those guys were able to weld the thing for him, booger weld, but guys, it held the whole freaking weekend. The whole freaking weekend after that, Josh ran and pounded on that car over and over and over again. He would stay out for the whole freaking sessions with that welded wastegate actuator. And then in the meantime, I MacGyvered a little lock. I had like a little toolkit from Harbor Freight, and I should have filmed all this stuff, but it was, you know, like it was just so hectic, guys. I bent a nail around the freaking actuator, and then I'm like, Josh, go get me some safety wire. And then he ends up coming back with like chicken wire or something like that, like some thick ass shit. But I wrapped that around that, tightened it as best I could. And guys, like I said, freaking Josh ran the whole weekend with that setup like that, man. That was clutch. That was such a MacGyver kind of fix. So yeah, guys, well, sorry for all the rambling. You know, it was an amazing weekend. The weather was awesome. You know, going to the track it's amazing, but you know, going to the track with your friends is just nothing short of epic. And like I said, amazing weather. You know, in spite of all the issues that we had, it was just freaking an amazing time. So I'm so happy that, you know, we got to do all that. All right, guys. So yeah, for the next video, I think that this thing is finally gonna get to stretch his legs with the new setup, with the new wheel and tire setup. I did do the oil pan. I'm still kind of driving it around without the under tray to make sure that nothing's leaking. So far, so good. So I do have a track day plan for this thing at Homestead. Homestead is like my de facto, let's test things out because it's not so harsh as Sebring, you know what I mean? So yeah, hopefully next video, this thing will be back out at Homestead and seeing what we can do. All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.